Let's go.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to this segment of Talking with Janice with me, your host, Janice McLean Deloach. And today I have a really special guest. I always have really great guests. And today is really exciting to me because I get to talk to somebody who who's one of the founders of FuBu, which was a clothing line that I really loved and followed for many years. So please help me welcome my guest, Mr. J. Martin Alexander. Wait,
Hey, J.
so
Alexander Martin.
please
Okay.
help me.
No, J. Alexander Martin is close. Close enough.
So please help me welcome my guest, J. Alexander Martin. Hi.
Hey, how's it going?
It is well. Thank you for coming today to talk with me. It's Janice, and we're just going to have a conversation about a lot of things. It's casual, but we hope that people will learn and gain some knowledge from this, and also you will help to open the pathways and make somebody's life a little better. So here we
I
go.
hope so.
The acclaimed J. Alexander Martin has externalized many successful ventures in the fashion industry, including the iconic clothing line FuBu, For Us, By Us, serving as the co-founder and vice president. And today his kingdom includes a clothing line, your kingdom, that's cute, a nonprofit and consulting firm. And through all of his endeavors, it is his innate talent and ability to predict trends that have caused him to impact the fashion world once again. Rightfully portrayed as the man who made urban culture a part of the mainstream, Jay's consistency in fashion has now given him a platform to emerge as an effectual leader once again. All right. Why does FuBu matter now?
Well, it's funny because there was times that I kind of thought it didn't matter. So this question you're asking now is kind of right on time because FUBU, it intrinsically means for us, by us, and I think that meaning has taken off, and it means a lot to different people, and I think that today, to the more of a younger people, it means something that like almost like equivalent to "we shall overcome," or equivalent to fight for your rights. And this is our word or our thing. So when it comes to clothing is great, but it was just the start. It was just something that to get us out there to show to get us out, to get that word for us, by us out there. I think of it and I look at it like, we did very, very well to the tune of about 6 billion in sales, to date. But that was just FUBU on a t-shirt. So reach that many people, as far as sales concerned, equivalent to sales, and get that message out the For Us, By Us message for all of us to look at each other and help and establish ourselves, establish, multicultural, establish, Black and brown people in a whole. I think that I've done something. And I think that with that being said, that's the reason why it is something now. Because there was a time when, people we didn't care about us. And I think that was a good 10-year span. But now we care about us again. And I hope that I can continue going on and being that beacon. Because again, like I said, we created this thing in 1992 and we created a movement. And I think that movement is here and now it's here to stay.
Do we care about us now because the world is watching or because it's the right thing to do? And often we have Black leaders and Black people politicians and so on who say that we matter, but their behavior does not always demonstrate that. So how do we keep moving this forward?
Well, you know, I kind of look the other way when I see people who are not kind of walking the walk and talking the talk. I've noticed as of late, actually even today, I was told, and I should actually get a look at it. That there's a show on Amazon Prime, and it's about the Underground Railroad. And in the first season, second episode, they actually say "for us by us," FuBu for us by us. Now I don't know how, I haven't seen it yet, but I don't know how they did it, but or how it goes into the fold. But if that doesn't mean for us by us, the Underground Railroad, then nothing does. So there's always going to be in a movement someone that's going to look for the money or look for the fame and not look for what is actually helping somebody. You know, it's always been that. It always will be that. But again, if we could just focus more so, I like to focus more so on the people that are doing it and are trying to do it, because those are the people that need it more. Because, you know, when you're out there fighting the fight, you're really by yourself.
Yes. Oh, yes.
By yourself.
Yeah.
And so again, if we can start pivoting our mind more towards the people that are trying to help versus the people that are trying to help themselves. Because again, this world is more of a narcissistic than ever at this point.
Yeah.
And if you look at music and you look at entertainment, and this is no disrespect to that field, a lot of times it's the individual that gets the accolades. It's the individual that's the person. So it's not like it's a business or like you're hiring other people per se. You're mostly it's all about your people. You're hiring people to make you number one. And after a while, that consumes you, and you always want to be number one. And once you get a taste of that fame, you don't want to get rid of it. Just like I wrote a book called Money Makes Me Crazy, and money
I
and
saw
power,
that.
it makes me crazy.
Yeah. Okay. Why did you write that book?
When?
Tell me what was the reason that you wrote that book?
Well, I wrote that book because, again, it made me crazy at times, wanting to show more. There's a thing about us, and I don't want to say all of us, but there's a lot of us that do this, is when we want to show how much we achieved. We want to show what we've done. We want to put everything we have and all our money on our back, and in our cars and our display, and it's all about marketing. It's all about us branding. It's all about us advertising, and all about us marketing, branding, advertising, marketing. But what happens? Bam! We run into a brick wall. And then we look at our counterparts who are just taking it and not doing all those certain things, although they have their vices just as well.
Right.
Our counterparts that come in and they're doing other things and with their money, and then they're achieving, and then they're creating businesses that are staying and having longevity. And then when you have a business like myself, like we have, my partners Keith, Carl, Damon, and I have, you look at us as if, oh, what? So what? So what that you're in business that long? Or you'll say, oh, we don't have any businesses that have longevity. Yes, we do. It's just that you're not recognizing it and you don't see it, because what you see, you don't see value in your own self. You see value in others.
Yeah. That has actually often been one of my gripes when you have, and I'm specifically talking about, because at one point I used to make my own clothes, and as a matter of fact, you guys were part of my inspiration for doing that. But then I would have to tell you how old I am. So anyway,
age is wisdom and age is beauty. So.
Yes. Thank you. But I often wonder why we have rappers that are quoting, Gucci or Givenchy or Halston or Prada and Tom Ford. I mean, I've just done it. And if it is a Black designer or a woman designer, we don't mention them. We don't, help them come up. Now I know that LL Cool J did that for you guys back in the day. And actually, I thought it was really funny because he was in a Nike ad with a FuBu
Actually,
hat on.
actually, it wasn't Nike. It was the Gap.
The Gap,
Yeah.
sorry,
Yes.
with the
Yes.
FuBu hat on though.
Yes. Well, something like that is when you start showing your worth and you know who you are, and someone recognizes who you are, and they recognize who he was, and they said, well, listen, he said, hey, this is the only way I'm going to do it. And
Wow.
he had all that value. We had value, and we put the
Mhm.
two and two together, and that's what happened. I mean, it's still in books today, like it's in accounting books, it's in marketing books, that episode, or that commercial, I should say. And that's probably one of the highlights of our career.
Mhm.
And we go down in history as like one of the best marketed clothing companies probably in the world.
Okay. So, and I just want to say hi to LL
Yeah.
and hi to
Oh,
Damon.
congratulations for him, for LL. He was just enrolled in the Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So
Okay.
congrats to him.
Yeah, there. Congratulations, LL. Okay. Um, when you look at the fashion industry as a whole, primarily people of color, women have been left out of that industry. What will FUBU do to help level the playing field for this particular group of people, if any?
Well, I have to say 100% that we've never been in that situation. We've never been the one to leave out women. We've always hired, and I can tell you about two women that notably that were instrumental in what we were doing. One is a woman named Kianga Peterson, which when I first started, I went to college with her, and I was learning merchandising and buying the merchandising because I was learning the business of it. I'm a creative director at heart, and she was an actual designer, and I brought her in to help when it comes to design to get my ideas out of my head. So, and she's been with us off and on for since 1992. And there's another woman that helped start us. And if it wasn't for her, we would not be who we were as far as marketing concerned. And why am I messing her name up? Oh my God, I'm messing her name up. But I'll get back to that name. I don't know why. Maybe because I'm thinking about it too much. And Leslie Short, sorry, Leslie, her name was Leslie Short.
Okay.
And she was instrumental in PR and branding and pushing us and being that gatekeeper to when everybody wanted to get to us and do whatever. She was like, look, you got to come through me first. And so we always put women in positions of power to be able to dictate and run and push. And actually, Kianga Peterson was one of the heads of our ladies division at one time. She went off and left and went on, did her home thing and created her own line. So, we've always had that, and we've always pushed women, and we've always had women there. One of my head designers is a woman just as well. And again, like you have to, and I'm gonna say this, and it may sound somewhat chauvinistic, but men wear clothing to impress women. So why would I not have women around so I can,
Okay.
if they like it?
All right. What's the consumer market like for clothing today?
Oh my God, what consumer market at this point? Being that we're in a COVID world, hopefully soon post COVID world, it's for any business right now. It's all about direct to consumer. It's all about um, internet sales, and that's really it. Because again, you can't really hand to hand get people to the stores. I don't know how we're going to get these people in the stores or back into the stores. I believe that because everyone's been cooped up and not really been out so much, everyone's going to want to go out and be seen and want to go buy and purchase and get and make retail come back again. As far as department stores with already failing A lot of them are going bankrupt. A lot of the malls were becoming, strip malls were becoming, desolate and obsolete. So again, I just wish and I hope that, maybe this transition of, people get on the internet, click, 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 all of a sudden they got their order. But I'm hoping that going forward, it will be, I don't want to click, click, click. I want to actually go in the store,
Right. Yeah.
feel it, touch it, all that. And I just hope that's what it is. But until then, that happens, we're stuck in uh, a binary world.
Well, I also think that it's up to us to change. Now we can't control the pandemic. we can't control that.
Right.
But I think it depends on what you're selling or what you push or how you market and what drives people to do what they do. And there are ways to get people back into stores and into brick and mortar if you have the right formula. That's what I believe anyway.
Well, I mean, listen, I believe it can happen. I believe I can fly. Yeah, I can fly if I get on a plane. You know what I mean? So there
Okay.
are ways. There are
Okay.
ways.
Um, Generally, I think a FuBu is a male-centric line.
Mhm.
Do you have products for women and kids? And if not, are they in the works?
Well, yes, we have women's. We've always had a breast of different items, a myriad of different items. We've had everything from car rims on down to, you know, um, um, what else crazy we had. But if back to your question, more so is just, oh, sorry, we have phones. So we have phone service, we have phone stores.
Okay.
So
Mhm.
we're doing FuBu hotels, we're doing FuBu radio, we're doing FuBu TV. So as far as buyers television, right? We also have women's kids, women's kids, juniors, um, uh, bags, watches, eyewear. We had sneakers, and I believe that's it. That's it.
Well, that's a lot. So that's a lot. That's a good start. Um,
Socks,
Socks. Okay.
underwear.
Would you tell
You keep
viewers?
talking, I'm gonna go on.
Oh my gosh. I can't keep up with all of them. Um, would you tell viewers what made you want to initially be a part of FuBu?
Well, I can't tell that without telling the story of how it started. I was in the military. I got out on Desert Storm. I was in Desert Storm. I got out of medical discharge, and I wanted to be in fashion. I went to FIT. That's my
Mhm.
part. Um, I was in an accident. I got money out of that accident, so now I have $6,000 in my pocket. Damon was making some hats. I was a childhood friend with Damon's. I saw he was making a hat. I saw he had a logo, and I saw he had um, um, a patch or label, and I identified with what it was called. It was meant called forest bias, and I said, okay, let me take this and turn this into a clothing line. And of course, Damon looked at me like I had 4 heads and 6 arms. And he said, well, how are you going to do that? I said, well, I'm going to school and I know a little bit about fashion. I've been working in fashion for a little while. I've been working in a department store and I'm going to school. And well, we don't have any money. And I said, well, look, I have $6,000,
Oh,
give you 5,000 and I'll keep 1,000. I'll buy some clothes and do what I'm doing. And here's $5,000. We're going to start this business.
that is inspirational in itself, that you believed enough in someone else's dream to invest in it and help them grow it and develop it. Yes, you
Well,
benefit from it
well, I
too.
had, well, I had to have well, to be honest, Damon didn't necessarily have a dream to make, clothing. Like Damon's the type of guy who's, he doesn't care what it is. Like he will make money. He'll figure it out. He's a businessman. He's going to figure it out. My thing was to try to make my dream, because I wanted to be in fashion, make my
Okay.
dream become their dream and make their dream become reality. Meaning Damon didn't care if it was a sock, if it was a hammer, if it was mirrors. whatever. His dream was to make
Okay.
money and create and have a business. And my dream was to create a business. Well, create or be in the business, I should say. And those two ideals came together, and here we go, almost 30 years later.
How did the other two partners come about?
So the other two partners, they were, well, Keith was rented actually a apartment, a basement apartment in Damon's house, because we all lived in Damon's house, right? Carl lived down the block, but Carl was actually one of the initial guys that, as far as helping Damon sell the hats when he first started. Then they stopped, and then I came along, was like, look, yeah, I got something here. Let me take it and put it to the next level. Then after a while, Keith was actually working somewhere in Manhattan. I think he was doing something like real estate or something for real estate or whatever. And then he wound up leaving his job or something. And then he wound up working with us. So it was kind of like, as everybody's situation changed, they would all say, hey, listen, let's help, let's work with Damon and Jay. And to the point where they started saying, well, look, what Damon and Jay is doing is looking like it's actually working. And actually was fun. And it just matured into a full-fledged business.
Is that one of your sweatshirts that you're wearing?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I like the fade in on the letters.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Tell people something they don't really know about you.
That I'm adopted and that I was in the military.
Okay, what branch?
I was in U.S. Navy. I was a ranger.
Okay. And I hear that you went to Israel.
Yes. Not recently, let's say about 3 years ago, I went to Israel. I'm very diverse when it comes to my thinking, and because I think to be a creative director, you have to be in everybody's pocket, if I could use that phrase. I mean, so what I like to do is listen and learn about what a lot of people like to do. I went to Israel with a group called APAC, which is like a group that lobbies for Israeli rights or Jewish rights, things like that. And they had this thing where opportunity to go because they want to take affluent or smart, intelligent, people that are doing something really good or in their communities or whatever, or businesses too. So it was about 12, maybe 15 African-American people from all walks of life. Well, actually more affluent walks of life. And just to get the experience of Israel. And we went there, we stayed there for like I said, almost like 15 days. We went from what they call the Knesset to, walked, where Jesus walked, I should say, which is, and it was a profound experience because the camaraderie that you have with people that you're doing something that you've never done before, because we never all have been to Israel. We never, they've taken to places that was so holy that, you really can't, you can't imagine it. It's things that are thousands and thousands of years old, and to let you understand the whole country, and everything they do. That's like someone taking, a group of other people to Africa and learning everything about Africa in a week and a half. So that's what we did. And I thought it was a great experience. And I think that everyone and anyone should always travel. I think that's the only way you'll be able to grow as a person, regardless, to understand other people, understand what other people are going through, and what they're doing and where they, hopefully where they're trying to go. And you guys, it lines up. And if you won't be able to understand that if you don't go out there and learn or eat their food and listen to their people and do what they do, and just to understand it. And I think that if we were all more of an understanding group of people, then I think this world would be a better place.
Yeah, absolutely. Would FuBu be successful today if you just started?
I don't think so. Because everything in business is time. the right time, open up the right time, close the doors at the right time, put the money in the right time, put it on sale at the right time. And at that
Right.
time,
Mhm.
you can't recreate that. You can't
Yeah.
recreate that wheel. You can't recreate that spark, that how people thought, the momentum, the life, the good life we called it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
can't recreate that.
Yeah.
That's like someone saying, well, can the 70s happen all over again? Or could Motown happen all over again? Or this or that? It's just the time, that's the
Mhm.
time, and that's it. Now, we can exist and coexist with other brands. And we doing a lot of we don't try to do a lot of collaboration with other brands to stay in play. We can be out there in a big way and still have clothing out there and apparel out there, and sell a lot of units, but
Right.
nothing compared to that feeling it was before.
Right. Yeah. It's interesting that you say that because everything feels different, doesn't it?
Well,
I,
yeah,
I
I
s-
mean, the more things change, the more things stay the same. The more things stay the same, the more things change. It goes back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Like, there's a life cycle for fashion, and it goes around. It's like a renaissance. It goes round and round and round. Everything kind of comes back. But how does it come back?
Mhm.
And that's the point.
Mm.
How does it come back? You can recreate anything. If you have a white canvas and you put a black mark on it and you erase it, that black mark is always there.
Mm.
That black mark is always
Wow.
going to be there.
Okay. Huh.
So we'll always be there, but we'll be faint, because you can't recreate that black mark because you just erased it. So it's not the same one. Like,
It's
it's not the same thing. You can carbon copy. Somebody can say, oh, I want to follow and do the same steps that FuBu did. You can do that all you want, but you won't get the same result.
you won't get the same result. Yeah. 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 So with Black Lives Matters, you see a lot of people selling t-shirts and using Black Lives Matters as a way to move the conversation forward. Um, how will FUBU fit into the national landscape and politics without really being political?
Well, that's a hard question because, I fight every day to try to be political. I fight every day to be able to at least get my voice heard without offending. It's
Right,
hard
that's
not
it.
to offend
Mhm.
others without. Once you pick a side, you're on that side.
Yeah.
And I think the problem with people, there's no negotiation in sides. For instance, if someone if something automatically happens, the first thing out of the actual other side's mouth is going to be, they're wrong, they're wrong. But what if they were right, the other person? You won't even see that they're right because you don't want to see that they're right,
Mm.
just as well as both sides. So if everyone keeps going back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, I can only be someone that jumps in the middle and kind of says a couple of words and jumps back out. Because until there's not this, the infighting is over, I can't be effective because nothing I'll say will work. Because you know, with this caste system or this canceling system, you know,
Mm.
you're
The cancel
automatically
culture.
canceled. Cancel culture, you're
Yeah.
automatically canceled for having an opinion. I don't have an opinion. I have a fact. And whatever I say is fact. I don't say opinion. It's not about what I think. It's about what I know. And if more people tell you what they know and not what they've what has, how their minds developed or how their minds changed because of A, B, and C, just look at everything as an instant for what that thing is. And if they do that, I think that once that happens, then I think somebody like myself can kind of jump in the middle. I'm on the board of the National Black Chamber of Commerce. I'm the president of the New York State Black Chamber of Commerce. So I try to help entrepreneurs. I try to jump in. I try to get political. I try to do it. But again, it's just hard because you can't. You have to take either stand on A or stand on B. And sometimes there is a middle ground.
Okay.
And not, you know, here's a crazy thing. And I may get criticized for this comment, but I don't really care. You know, it's like when a guy's in the street, you know, and he kills 5 people. Okay. And then you have, you know, a group of people saying, free him. Well, he just killed 5 people. Did he kill? Now, he being that he didn't kill your person or your mother, father, brother, sister, whatever, right? He's a bad guy. So then he should be in jail. You know, but no, our culture is to commend them and say, oh, free him. But that's just not right. Like, what's right is not right. If you know better, do better.
Right. Yeah, I agree with you on that.
I think that's the problem.
When we talk about Trump, and I say we meaning the media, the public, Facebook silenced his voice. All this Twitter silenced for shut down his account. And there are a lot of people who are very happy about that. And there are a lot who are not. My thought is people should have the right to speak and freedom of speech, even if we don't always like what they're saying.
I agree. To a point.
You know, and the reason I mention that is because often we hear, and I'm speaking of minorities and even women in this case, that we don't have a voice, we're left out. And when I think about all the Black millionaires, I actually know a few of them. And I think about people who are not millionaires, but could collectively come together and pool their resources and their money to purchase their own TV stations or create their own television and radio stations and studios. I wonder why we have not done that all these years.
Well, again, that's I was alluding to earlier, is that they are people in different spaces that are just not recognized because we don't have enough of them. We may have one or two in each, you know, genre, right? Let's just say. But it's not enough because there's so many more on the other side. And then two, even if it is in your face, you won't recognize it. Because again, we have been raised and we have been pushed and drugged to think that validity, again, is on the other side. And when someone's trying to move up in the world, they have to what? Appease whoever they need to appease to get there. They don't necessarily have to appease each other. They're going to appease someone else to get that power.
Right.
That's what happens all the time. Because for instance, I started Forward's Bias Network. Okay, I just did the upfronts with BET, the likes of BET, 7, Channel 7, ABC, all that. A lot of people don't know that yet. But, you know, eventually I'll get the same, you know, CPM rates that they get and build content and do it. But, you know, someone will say, oh, is FuBu still around? Last time I checked. And it's been around for, you know, almost 30 years. But the next average person will just be like, oh, whatever. But they'll know that Gucci's around.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? You know that's around.
Right. And see, and this is where I come in, because I try to, and not to spend a whole lot of time talking about what I do, but I try to educate, well, I do educate people about businesses like FuBu and what you guys are doing, and try to connect the dots so that you can help them. They need the help. You guys can get together and grow things. And one thing about me, it's not, sometimes people feel like they say, oh, well, you're always talking about uniting, you know, Black money. Well, not necessarily. What I'm talking about is uniting resources and leveling the playing field for people who have been left out of the conversation for a very, very, very long time. And sometimes they happen to be poor people. Sometimes they happen to be Spanish people or Latinos. Sometimes they are women, and sometimes they are minorities. And so that's really what my goal is. So certainly when you guys are, moving to the next level and you have some information, I definitely want to share that with people, because this is how I feel we get success. You come together with people who are like-minded, who need what you have. You're building something, they can help you build it and go. But I go back to the whole point we were talking about in terms of, and this is the last question, then I want to ask you some fun things. When we feel like our voices are being silenced, you guys broke through 30 years ago. So there are ways to break through and have your own voice if you really want to do it.
Well, yeah, because
So,
consistency, again, yes, we've had, our ups and downs. Yes, we've had all that. But to push through that is what you're supposed to do.
okay.
Soon as someone has a problem, oh, I'm stopping to do something else. And then two, you got to really understand 99% of 99, I shouldn't say that's too harsh. 75% of the people are not doing what they want to do because they want to do it. They're doing what they were doing. They're doing what they're doing because they're following that somebody else did it. If somebody today says hammers are in, everybody's going to jump and buy hammers or make hammers instead of going their own lane. Mm-hmm. Everybody's individual and everyone has ordained and God has put on their spirit, or Allah, or whatever you believe in is put in your spirit to do something. You need to follow what that is and stop following everybody, chasing money and chasing this, chasing that, and chasing fame. And, again, when you're young, yes, I understand most people want to do that. But then after a while, you get older and you have to try to do something that makes sense, that makes sense for you and for you, not necessarily for someone else or for what everybody else is doing. That following mentality, and it's only getting worse because of social media. Because again, what do you have to do? You get followers. So now you're all sitting on the rat race. Meanwhile, I'm off over here doing 800 other things because I'm not sitting on that train.
It is very interesting that entrepreneurs do. Most of us, and I say us, because I'm including me too, we share similar traits in that when we come up with one idea, we come up with another idea, we come up with another idea. And often what happens to entrepreneurs is that we have more ideas than we do funding and people to help us put those ideas in place. What would you say to an entrepreneur who's got a whole bunch of ideas and no funding, or how do they move forward? Because you either have the entrepreneur who has all these ideas and no money and no resources, and then you have the one who has the resources, but they're not interested in doing anything, and what can we do I know Shark Tank's around, and I know you've got Undercover Boss and The Profit, that's all great, but there are the little people in the cities who just want to get to the first base. What do you say to those guys?
Well, this is what I do. And this is my process. I tell people, I say, listen, one, go around and ask everybody about this idea, right? And let them tell you, no, it's not going to work.
Yeah, that always works for me.
Listen, take all of it, right? Write it all down. And for every single problem, supposedly problem, you find a solution for it, right? And once you finish that whole exercise, then you start.
Okay.
That's one. Now, when it comes to scaling, right, or it comes to you have 1,000 ideas in your head for business, what you have to do is pick one and build off that business. We started from a hat. And from a hat, what do you need with a hat? Maybe you need we do a t-shirt, right? And from a t-shirt, you go to a sweatshirt. And from a sweatshirt, it goes on and on. It's a cycle. The problem with a lot of people, they want to skip steps. They want to start today and be whatever, a business tomorrow. The first thing I hear anyone tell me is, oh, my brand. You don't have no brand. You don't have a brand. Sorry. So once you understand what each is, tell me what a brand is, I'll say. Tell me what advertising is. Tell me what marketing is, right? I put them through this whole rigmarole. Go into the store. You want to be in fashion? No problem. Go into the store, and I want you to go and do it. I want you to go into the store. Once you stop at the front gate, front door, look up, look around, look at the sign, look at everything. Go in there, watch people come in and out. Go inside, look around, go through the whole process of picking something out, go into the register, and then write down everything that happened. And then tell me, why did everything that happen? Why did all that happen? Then do the same thing for the internet. Go on the internet, go to a website, buy something, go check out, and tell me why did everything happen? Tell me everything about that process. Then, after you do all that, then I want you to do this. I want you to go home, right? I want you to go outside, to get a rock. I want you to go into your apartment, house, whatever you live, cut the lights off, right? I mean, so cut the lights off. You don't have to cut the lights off. You can actually cut off computers, phones, all the electronics. Sit down, entertain yourself with that rock. And after you entertain yourself rock, then sell me that rock. And once you go through all these exercises, you'll start to what? Get your creativity back, right? You'll start to understand the process, the business. Why somebody's buying something? Not necessarily, oh, I just got a business and I made a sale. Okay, but why? I'm gonna say something that's gonna sound kind of raw and I may curse, but hey, it's how I say it, is everybody cares about, sorry. Everybody wants that shit, wants the shiny object, right? They're chasing that shiny object, right? But the problem is they don't know how that shit got shiny, nor do they care. And that's the problem with business, and that's the problem with entrepreneurs, and that's the problem what's going on today. And when that all gets solved, we'll have a lot more entrepreneurs, a lot more people being successful. Because within entrepreneurs, you hire more people. And again, not everybody can be an entrepreneur.
Right.
Mama say, oh, you can do it. No, you can't.
Right. Yeah. And that seems to be an issue right now. And there are a lot of people that want to be chiefs, but not enough Indians. And I don't say that to downplay anybody else, but there are some people who are very content with being an Indian. They just want to be paid and compensated well for being an Indian. I mean, some of them don't want to be a chief. Look, chiefs are hard. It's a hard work. Yeah.
Actually, you're crazy.
Yeah. It's a lot of work. No, I'm sorry. Your last point, you said, pitching and marketing your product. So we talked a little bit about that. And so, it was something else you said about the rock. I forgot. It'll come back to me.
The rock was just a way to get people to kind of get out of their own way and be more creative.
Yeah.
But most people, what's happening today is I hear someone say, oh, well, this is go to my IG. For what? I go to your website? Like, what are you talking about? Like, go to my IG. Well, IG to me is nothing but a glow. It's like a magazine.
Oh, I know what it was.
Okay.
This is what I wanted to ask you. So when I look at the history of business, and this is the last question, then I'm going to ask you some fun things and we're going to get out of here. All right. When I look at the history of business, you have companies like Levi, and you have Morton Salt, and you have Ford and Hershey and Crown Royal and Coca-Cola. And a lot of these companies were created between the late 1800s through the end of the 1920s. Most of them are all within that time period. Most of them are headed by men. Mostly all of them were founded by men. There are a few women in there you don't hear a whole lot about, except for Madam C.J. Walker. And then you had the lady that started Mary Kay and Avon. Those businesses were all coming about. And they're also in hair products and cosmetics. And then when you fast forward today, and because I'm working on my second book, and I look at the history of women entrepreneurs in America. Even today, most of the powerhouse companies like Apple, Amazon, Microsoft are all founded by men. What do women have to do to level the playing field and have the opportunities to get past the glass ceiling and to have Fortune 500 and billion-dollar companies like that? Do you have any ideas about what we could do to change that lane?
I think, and this may not sound like the answer that you want to hear, but I think that that narrative needs to stop being a narrative. Because if you have one, then you have one. If you have
Okay.
two, you have two. You have three, you have three. So if you only look at what can be done, you're not looking at what can't be done.
Mm-hmm.
So you don't know. It's almost like throwing a baby in the water. They don't know they can't swim. They just swim, right? You don't know that there is no failure. You don't know that there isn't any other companies. You know that they are, and you know that you're going to be the next one. So if you think that way, the way I'm saying it, this question would never even come up.
Okay. If you could have lunch with any person living or dead today, who would that be and why?
Ooh, I've never asked. I've heard people ask that question.
They
And
got it from me. I wrote that question.
You had that question? I've heard them bite your question.
Yeah.
And I never had an answer for that.
Okay.
I never had an answer for that.
What's your
I
favorite
mean, to be
TV show?
honest, I would bring my grandmother back because I miss us sitting on the porch. She died this year. She made 105. So
Oh,
right, she's 105 this year. Would be 105 this year, and she died on January 2nd. And I would bring her back and just have another just to sit back on the porch and just have conversations with her.
actually, that was one of my questions for you. If you could go back to any time period, which one would it be and why? You just gave me that answer. So, okay. What is your favorite TV show right now?
I'm going to be biased.
You're gonna say FuBu TV?
Yeah, I mean, everything on FuBu TV, right?
Uh-huh.
But not to be okay. To actually, I just watched the Halston doc. I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good.
Okay. If you had to
Well,
go,
that's me being biased because fashion, but
because it's fashion, yeah, yeah. I just left it alone. I said, okay, all right.
that's biased twice. Okay.
Oh my gosh, man. If you had to go and live on an island and you could only take three things, what would they be?
If I live on an island, take a thing. I would take a survival kit, an entire survival kit.
Mm-hmm.
I would take electronics, like computer and sat phone, so I can get Wi-Fi.
Okay.
And I would take my wardrobe.
Oh my gosh. You are truly a fashionista. All right. Or fashion, what is it? The guys. I need to find a word.
I call it a fashion mind.
A fashion mind. Okay. Okay. All right. Good. All right. And then lastly, what's your favorite comfort food?
Porterhouse steak.
That's not a, okay, well, yeah, okay, maybe for you, that might be a comfort food. I'm more of a cookies, cakes, and pies girl myself. So
A steak takes cowboy ribeye, cowboy ribeye, T-bone, all that. That's my
mhm.
comfort food.
J. Alexander Martin, it's been my pleasure to
Thank
talk
you.
with you
Definitely.
today. It's a little long, but it's okay. We cover quite a bit. And how do people support you, support your projects, become involved, or anything in particular you're looking to reach out to people that you want to do? How do we cover all of that?
I just say, keep an eye out for my website, the letter J, alexandermartin.com. And everything's on there, from my social media to all the things that I'm doing, all my events and podcasts I'm on, and all the things that I'm doing are on there. Just kind of follow that, and that way, you'll get to see whatever I'm doing.
Okay, J. Alexander Martin.
And don't
And
forget to
listen,
go to forusbias.com.
what is it?
Forusbias.com.
Okay. Hey, listen, you have a book. Tell us about your book too. How can people get your book?
Oh, if you go to my website also, jalexandermartin.com, or you go to Amazon, Build an Empire or Money Makes Me Crazy. And actually, we're putting out the second edition of Money Makes Me Crazy in a few months.
Okay, wow. Well, maybe you'll send us some books so we can give out on my radio show. It's
Yes, definitely.
Janice.
Definitely.
Yeah, yeah. So we'd like to do that. And if you're looking for some people to help you at FuBu TV, look,
Yeah,
I'm here. So
knock them out.
so come look me up. Look, I'm putting it out there. I'm
Man,
opening up that dialogue. Yeah.
it was already out there.
Yeah. So, all right, my pleasure. I thank you again for talking with me tonight. I hope to have you back on, and certainly we're going to talk to you on the radio as well.
Yes, thank you.
Okay.
Thank
All right, guys. My guest, J. Alexander Martin, and thank you for tuning in to this segment of Talking with Janice with me, your host, Janice McLean Deloach. All right, guys.
Thanks,
Talk to
Jen.
you the next time.
Bye.
Bye.